Well, good morning, everybody. It is that favorite time again for September 8th, 2020. It is Sports Talk with Corey, and I'm excited to be here with you today. We're going to get into the sports in a minute, but I'd like to introduce, I have a special guest today, one of my good friends here from Botwell's, Mr. David Emerson, and he is joining us today.
Good
Say
morning.
hi. Good morning. So he volunteered to be one of our special guests, so who knows, from time to time, maybe we can get some guests to come in here and talk with us and see what he thinks of my analysis. So for today, we did get a question today from David Spencer, and he asked me today to compare the Vikings defense with their offense, which is more likely to win games because of their defense or offense. And he wants me to be specific with some of the players on the team. So thank you for answering that. And your candy will be coming. Patty wanted me to tell you. So your candy will be coming. Some initial thoughts with that question. I think it's kind of 50-50 right now because the Vikings have two new corners that are going to be starting, and they're kind of rookies. So we don't know how good their secondary is going to be. I think Harrison Smith, who our all-pro safety is going to have to do a lot of quarterbacking out there in the secondary. I think our secondary is kind of average, and we really don't know how good our defense is going to be until we get out there. As of last week, we did get another pass rusher from Jacksonville, and I did bring that up. His name is Gakwe, or however you pronounce his name, but he will be number 91 out there, and he'll be number 91. That'll be his jersey number for the year. He is going to play, I believe, opposite side of Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is our right-ended specialist, so I think they're going to put Gakwe at left end, and they're going to do a lot of blitz and a lot of pass rush. But our offense, I don't really think is the problem. My problem with the Vikings has been more their lack of their defense, being able to stop people on third downs. I think we give up a lot of third downs, getting a first down. And I think that this year we're going to have to be really, really, really good on third down to have any shot at winning a lot of games. I think, as you know, the Packers, which I am very sad to say I'm not going to be at the game. Had tickets for that game, but unfortunately, I can't go to the game, because they're not allowing any fans. So I'm probably tear up when the game comes on. But anyway, that's another story for another day. We got the Green Bay Packers coming in here on Sunday, and I think that's going to be a tough game. Some initial thoughts with the Packers are they have, real quickly, they have another wide receiver. I forgot his name. I'll have to look it up, but he's coming over. They have Devontae Adams, which is their star receiver, but they have another guy that's really good. I forgot his name offhand because they didn't mention it in the paper, but they did upgrade and grab another receiver. So that's going to be an area to watch with Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers is still a very good quarterback. I think people are kind of down on him this year. They've been talking as if he's going downwards, and I still think even though he's not the best quarterback, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and we got to watch him because he likes to run and scramble, and if he gets out of containment, it could be a long day for our defense. So I think with that question, it's kind of half and half. We have to see how the offense is going to work for us, and then we have to see the first couple of series, on defense. But who I like on offense, and I should be specific with players. I'm a Dalvin Cook guy. I like Dalvin Cook. Who do you like from the Vikings, Dave?
I like Dalvin Cook too, and I think their inability to sign him quickly is going to create some difficulties for them.
Okay, that's good. And real quick, I want to talk about that because he's in a contract year, and he wants it's time to sign him. He says it's not a problem, but if they don't sign him or this lingers, this could be a problem. They do, he is their best running back. They do have two other good backs, but I just think the offense doesn't do well when he's not in there. They have to have him in there, so I'm hoping they get that, David. I hope they get that resolved. So Dalvin Cook is my favorite player. I like him. I like some of the other players on offense. I'm not a Cousins fan. Everybody knows here at Botwell's I am not a Cousins fan. So please, what do you think of Cousins?
He's got to show continued improvement. Last year he was better than previous 2 years, but I'm with you. I am not certain. Oops.
Oops, go ahead, David.
I am not certain if he is up with the elite quarterbacks in the league. I think that's troublesome.
Okay, and I want to piggyback on that. That's actually great because I think he was better, but I still think he needs improvement. I agree with you on that. I think where he needs to show consistency is not panicking so much in the pocket and trusting that arm. I think he gets, when the blitz is coming, I think he gets a little too paranoid with his throws, and that leads to interceptions, or it leads to a loss of a down, or he gets sacked. Again, a lot of our problem area is our offensive line. I think our offensive line for the last couple of years, David, has been actually really, really bad, if you agree with that.
Well, yes, it has, but you see the elite quarterbacks are able to avoid the blitzes, at least get his feet are running, but he doesn't seem to have the know-how to avoid the rush and to find a way quickly to an open receiver. He is just not tops in that. You give him all the time he wants, and he's good, but so are almost every quarterback in the league.
Okay, that's actually really, really good, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was just gonna get into that area real quick. I agree with you. I think that he needs to show more improvement in that area. There are a lot of teams that don't have the greatest offensive help, and their quarterback seems to be able to get the ball where it needs to go. And I think part of his problem is he holds the ball too long. He needs to know where he wants to go. So, perfect example, if the blitz is coming, they should already have a hot read where he can go and get rid of the ball. Or if you're not going to do that, at least throw the ball away. But see, the problem is he stands too long, and I think he thinks too much in the pocket, and that leads to interceptions or incomplete passes or sacks. So I do agree with you on that. That's an area of concern that he needs. So that's actually great. So I appreciate that. So with that going forward, the best way I can answer that question is it's kind of half and half. You know, I can't give you a real and you stump me because I really want to say the offense, but the problem with the offense is we got a rookie receiver, we got rid of Diggs, we have Thielen there, I miss Diggs too, but we're gonna have to have some leadership. Adam Thielen says that he likes the new kids' worth ethic, so we'll see. I have to see. I believe his name is Justin Jefferson, or Jefferson kid from LSU. He's a rookie wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we'll have to see. Let me ask you one other question, David. What do you think of the Vikings offense as a whole?
Well, I don't think rookies excel. They have a big learning curve coming into the pros. So I'm reluctant to base too much on rookies, and they seem to have a lot of faith in newcomers, and I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
But they also have problems on the defense.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of new players, as you pointed out, the corners and the new pass rusher, and it always makes me worry if somebody's willing to give somebody up. The question is why. So a lot of questions on both offense and defense, which makes me think a 500 season would be a good outcome.
Yeah.
And that's not going to get you into
the playoffs.
That
is actually really good, and I was wondering if you were going to go there. I know the Vikings front office. I mean, I don't think they do a good enough job, and this isn't me bashing them. I think they put too much faith in their rookies because they got 2 new corners, and they think that they're going to be able to go against some of these high pressure wide receivers. You got top end wide receivers, and I think a lot of that is going to depend on who we play each week. So, like, for example, let me give you a perfect example. one of the top receivers in the NFL right now is Julio Jones from Atlanta. What's going to happen when Julio Jones gets matched up with one of the, if they got a rookie on him, that's going to spell trouble. And I think that's a big deal. And I definitely agree with you when it comes to those situations. So for me, it's really a 50-50 thing. You just really don't know. As David said, we'll have to wait and see. But I can't put faith in, I'm not putting faith in the defense, and I'm sure as heck not putting faith in the offense. The only person I put faith in is Dalvin Cook, because I know he can run the ball, but you have to block for him too as well. So we'll see about that. So we'll get back to you. Thanks for the question. I commend you for that. I appreciate that, David. Anybody who's watching this, ask questions, and make sure you call us. We'll get that number out before the show is over, and we'll get back to you. So we're going to talk about my favorite subject every week is about the Twins. David and I were just talking before we came on what I thought about the Twins, and before I get into my initial issues with the Twins, what do you think about the Twins?
Well, I think last year was an anomaly, and they're having a hard time repeating it because of injuries. And it just doesn't seem like they're enjoying themselves this year. Last year, they just seemed like a happy team. Everybody was pulling their weight and having outstanding years. And statistically, how can you have the best year of your baseball career every year? There's very few people playing baseball that do it repeatedly year after year after year, like Trout for
for Anaheim.
Yep. So I just think they're not having as much fun, and they certainly don't have the spark that they had last year. So maybe it's psychological. Most likely it's injury related, but it just isn't look like fun.
Okay, fair enough, and I'll piggyback on that. Thank you for that. I think the Twins, my issues with the Twins, and as David knows, is I don't like their pitching. Their pitching is not very good. We have talked about this during the shows that Pat, every week about the Twins' inconsistencies with the pitching. My thing is when you got Barrios, I believe, is still injured. I don't know if he's back or not, but it just Rich Hill. I mean, some of these starters that we have are just not quality pitchers, And I think that in a tight game, as like I was telling Dave about, but in a tight game, you got to have your starter be able to go more than 3 or 4 innings. You got to at least get them into the 6th, maybe 7th inning, and by that time it's like already 8-2. Let's say Detroit, it's too late. You bring in another reliever, and it just doesn't work. But I do agree with you. I don't think they're having fun. I think their body language is not very good, and I don't know. And they're not hitting. I think David and I were talking about too that last year it was an anomaly when we were hitting all these home runs out of the park. I don't see that joy anymore. We're not hitting like that, and I think that's kind of everybody knew that we weren't going to go into another year of hitting long balls like that. It just was one of those years. So I don't know. The manager keeps saying that things are going to be okay. I don't know. He doesn't look very, just his body language, it just doesn't look consistent. It doesn't look like he's actually not having a good time managing. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think the Twins right now, we have a log jam in the Central Division, and same thing I was telling David, these games count. So there's no reason why you should be losing to Detroit's and Chicago's and, teams like that. Those are teams we should be beating on a regular, consistent basis. There's no reason why the Twins should be in that logjam, because I believe we started off the season on a hot streak where we were up, 10, 11 games or something like that, and then we went into a free fall. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Over the weekend, I did see some college football. I don't know, did you watch any college football?
Why? No.
I was just curious. I just wanted to ask. But I turned it on, and I didn't watch a lot of it. I think Navy and BYU played or something like that, and I didn't watch too much of it. But I know that Navy did get crushed 55-3. So, yeah, it was not very good. But Let me ask you this since I have you here, David. Do you think that we're going to have Big Ten football again?
I'm going to go 50-50 on that. I think personally, if you respect players, we won't. But if you use players as fodder to feed coaches making $5 million, we will. Last person I would trust to make a valid decision is a college football coach. Sorry about that. Except, I think Minnesota's coach Fleck cares about his players. I really do. I think he can make a good decision, but most of them are just greedy.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about a couple weeks ago about the NCAA caring only about making millions off these kids. You know, like you just said, the NCAA is kind of a money pit. You know, they have to have football in there because that's what makes money for them. You know, they make big time money on this, and like you said, coaches like Fleck are cool, and I think they care about their players. But you got people like Saban. Who else you got in that context of the top coaches? I forgot names, but you got those big time coaches that only care about getting football started so they can get paid. Like you said, people like Saban who make billions of dollars in a contract.
Even, Iowa coach.
Oh, Kirk Ferentz, yeah.
He, look at the black players that have come forward with the racist comments, how they treat their players.
Yep.
They aren't going to say anything negative, but how they treat the players is important.
Yep.
And the black players at Iowa, and I suppose a lot of schools, are not treated equally as the other players. So how can you trust those coaches to make a valid decision for all the players? I don't know. I don't think you can. Let the presidents at the universities have the final say like they do. And, make the football coaches stand back and do what they're supposed to do.
What they're paid to do. Yep. That's actually a good point. And I agree with you. I think I've always said if you can play football safely and without pressure, and things like that, let's play it. But if it's not safe, then I don't think you should play. As you know, some of the parents and kids in the Big Ten signed a petition to the Big Ten. I know you heard about that, to get the kids on the field and play again. And it's like, what were your thoughts of that when you heard that?
Listen, the reason that you take young men at 18 in the Army and the Marines, etc., is because 18-year-olds, by and large, don't have any fear. And they'll do whatever they're told to do, whether it's battle or play football through injuries or what. So when 18-year-olds make a plea to go and play football, they really don't have the experience. Wait until ask a 25-year-old if they want to play during a pandemic, and the problems of side effects impacting their heart and their life. Yeah. They're going to think differently than an 18-year-old. So I take that with sort of a grain of salt. Let the adults decide with science as to whether or not it's safe to play a game as much body contact as football. I don't know. So I don't put much credence in the players saying they want to play, or even their parents. I just don't.
Okay, that's fair, and that's actually a fair. Patty and I have, during this show, we've talked about that. Again, if you can play it safely, and the science says you can do it, and you can control it, and you can do it, hey, let's play. But like you said, we have to think that these young kids out here are making decisions that like you said, I'm sure if I was in that situation, I was 18 years old, you know me, I'd be like, yeah, let's play football. I don't care. And as you see on these campuses with the coronavirus hitting a lot of these, universities, these kids don't care. They go to parties, they do whatever. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I know that they've been battling quickly. I know a lot of the colleges have been battling surging cases of that, so that's going to be a deciding factor.
Well, my grandson is at Miami of Ohio. He's in graduate school this year. And I talked to him last night, and he said they've had 1,000 Corona-19 infections, and they only have 10 to 12,000 people on campus, 10 to 15,000 people on campus. So that means in the 2 weeks that they've been there, 10%, 7 to 10% of their students have contacted COVID-19. Now, this is a real pandemic. It's actual, it's real. So we have to pay attention to it. And look at the NBA and
you talking about football?
the basketball.
Okay.
And the links.
Yeah, and the links, yeah.
Those are in a bubble. They are really controlling that ability to control the disease. Compare that to football,
Right.
and even to baseball, and it's a big difference. Well, there aren't too many 18 and 19-year-olds playing professional basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
So the players were an important part of how they were going to play professional sports in the pro basketball leagues. We need some of that same adult thinking for the other sports.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough, and we talked about that as well. I was just going to bring up the NBA. They just said that there still has not been any positive cases in like almost 100 days, as you speak with the bubble, and I agree with that. I think that the colleges are not controlling it like that. They're not doing that, and I think part of the problem is, some of these universities, when they get COVID cases, they want to try to send their kids home. And if there are, and I don't know how you feel, but I'm a big opponent. If they can control it on the campus, why not keep the kids there, instead of sending them home? Because I know kids who are not playing football are going to school are already going home. What do you think of that, real quickly?
It's a hard thing. I don't have a firm opinion on that. I just haven't read any of the reasoning for sending kids home as to keeping them on campus. So I just don't know.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, well, I love that perspective, and that's actually really good to get another person's opinion on that, and I think the viewers like that. So who knows what's going to happen with college football? I know, like I said, some of these conferences are playing. Hopefully they'll reevaluate that. We just don't know. I think it's a touch and go, with the Big Ten. We'll see what happens. So we can talk about, just real quickly, we can talk about Lynx. I believe their last game was the other day against Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they got beat by Seattle.
Oh, see, excuse me. You're right. See, you got me on this. So what do you, before I get into my thing, what do you think about the Lynx so far this season? If you've watched them or read it, what do you think?
I just think they are phenomenal. But then again, I'm a feminist, so I think they have done so good on Black Lives Matter. Oh, they're just unbelievable. And Maya Moore in helping the case to free the man who's been held 25 years, the black man has been held 25 years for a crime he didn't commit, and the injustice that they use to keep him locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, and she brought forth that, and the whole organization is supporting the Black Lives Matter, and the way they're doing it is just phenomenal. But as far as the Lynx go, Cheryl Reeves has done a phenomenal job. These are a bunch of rookies because their big center, Fowles, got injured, and Carlson and Dangerfield, and all of them are coming back. They're playing amazing. I watched the Phoenix game, and they were behind by 15 or 17 points in the first quarter, and they just stormed back in that second half and just buried Phoenix, who's in the running for one of the 4 spots. So they're an amazing basketball team. We're proud to have them representing Minnesota.
Well, I want to piggyback off of that real quick, and I thank you. My favorite player on that team is Dangerfield. I think I have watched a lot of their games, and she is really fearless. I mean, she goes to that basket like there's nothing else. I think she makes good decisions. I think she's a great rookie player. I think the Lynx are very fortunate to have drafted her, because now we got stability at that point guard position for the next 8, 9, 10 years, and I think she's great. Just to piggyback off some of your things, I think Collier is actually a great player.
She is.
She's a very good player. And you're right, they have done an exceptional job while Sylvia Fowles has been out with that calf injury. I believe, she's been out, I think, 6, 7, 8 games now. And the thing with the Lynx is, every game they play, they make it exciting. Even though they may be down 10 or 12 points, they make it exciting because they can come back at any time. As opposed to back then, you think they get down 10 points, they don't got a shot. I think Cheryl Reeve has done an exceptional job with this team. They're in the 4th spot right now for that playoff spot, and if they can stay in between 3 and 4, I think they're going to have a good seeding to get somebody that they can.
They have 2 byes.
Yeah, they have 2 byes, correct. So they still are in shot for one of those byes, and I think they've been very, very impressive. Even some of the games that they, the game against Seattle, I know, Seattle's the top team in the league by far. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think Seattle is clearly the top dog in our division in the WNBA. But I think the Lynx have a real good shot. I think one area I'd like to see them be better is their defense. I think their defense needs and Cheryl Reeves preaches defense. She's a defensive person. And last interview I saw with her, she was really mad about the defense. So I think that's one of the areas they can get better. I mean, they're great to watch, but their defense needs just to be a little bit better. What do you think?
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Going into the league, don't you think it's harder to learn professional basketball defense than it is offense? I mean, just look at the Timberwolves. They get all these really great offensive players, and they don't have any defense.
Okay.
And the good teams have defense. I think it takes at least 2 to 5 years to really, really get the defense down.
Okay.
But I'm not a coach. So
Okay, I'll answer that real quickly. I think to be a great defensive player, it takes a lot longer than to be a great offensive player. Perfect example with me, real quickly. I can shoot, I can make good offensive plays, but I think it's on the defensive end where you have to be really good to be able to excel. And if you can do it on both ends of the court, then you're going to be a really great player. So I will leave it at that. So. Okay, we got 1 minute left in the show. First of all, I want to say before we wrap up, David, it's been a pleasure to have you come in and give us your experience in Sports Talk, and I really, really appreciate it. You're one of my best buds, so I appreciate you doing this on short notice. So thank you very much for being our special guest, okay? I'm going to leave the number here. I encourage you guys to send me another question as David Spencer did. He really threw me on my toes because it took about 4 days to really come to a conclusion on answering this. I asked David, I asked 4 other people. So please, so please answer, please do this and then ask a question and I'll be happy to answer it. With that, again, I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be blessed, and I'll see you the same time next week. God bless. Bye-bye.